Hey, Brad, I got a dog yesterday.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
This has got to be going somewhere insincere. I don't believe that you just got a new dog.
So we've been looking for a new corgi for since the pandemic.
Wait, did you really get a new dog?
Yeah, we drove to Sacramento and brought back a 6-month-old puppy yesterday.
What?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me we went to Costco and I got a dog for $1.50.
I did that on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
It was delicious.
I also did that on Tuesday.
Wow, really?
Yeah, we went to Costco on Tuesday and got hot dogs.
We had Costco dogs and a pizza to celebrate the 400th episode of The Full Nerd and my last episode of The Full Nerd.
Man, that's a pretty... Oh, well, that sucks.
It's been an eventful week, actually.
That sucks. I missed that part, but I was going to say I do enjoy the idea of the Costco event celebration.
Yeah, it was pretty, the kids love the Costco pizza, it turns out, for birthdays and stuff. And I love the Costco pizza for birthdays and stuff because it's real cheap compared to everything else, pretty much.
Wait, last Full Nerd, huh?
Well, my last Full Nerd.
Yeah, yours. I mean,
they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to pay me anymore, it turns out.
I don't think I realized that.
Yeah. Well, we did. So, okay, there's a lot going on here to unpack.
Yeah, this might be too many cold open topics,
yeah,
honestly.
Yeah. This is a questions episode. It's not an oops all cold open, but so I started at the Full Nerd when our friend Gordon got sick because they needed help to help cover him while he was recovering, and then unfortunately he didn't recover, which was awful. And I stayed on to help them with that and help them figure that out. But they've started replacing. They've hired a couple full-time people coming in, and they're reducing their expenditure on contractors, which they offered a lower rate, and I wasn't interested in that. And, which is fine. It's how it goes sometimes. No hard feelings. I love Adam to death. I love Elena and Brad. Brad Charkis is so fun because he started writing for Maximum PC when we started the website in 2006 or 2005. And he was writing news stories for us, like Gawker style news stories for us for years and years and years.
I don't think I realized you guys had worked together before.
Well, so we kind of hadn't, because he was a contractor, and unless Norm was on vacation, Norm managed Brad and the people who were the contractors writing on the website. So I enjoyed his work, and I was like, yeah, we should keep getting this guy to do this. But we didn't really get chat a whole lot, and it was lovely to get to spend time with him and meet him, and spend time with Adam and meet Adam and Elena. It was another ex-Future person. So yeah, it was good. I'm sad to see it's gone. I'm kind of glad to have that time back because it was fairly time consuming, and I'm looking for other things. I think I'm going to launch a Linux podcast, which I alluded to on that Full Nerd episode.
Whoa!
I know this may surprise you.
No, we've talked about it.
Yeah,
that was a performative whoa, because you had mentioned that to me before. Although I'm not sure quite what shape it's going to take yet.
I'm working on that. I did a couple of test things last week. Adam's in Taiwan for Computex for the next 2 weeks, and we recorded an episode for this week, and he's recording an episode for next week there. And then I'm hoping that by the time he's back, I'll have something to announce there. Because we're going to do, I think, once he's back, we're doing 4 more episodes of Dual Boot Diaries, and then we're going to wind that down as well. But I will have something new coming on the Linux front for folks who are interested in that. And I think it's going to be a melange of different flavors. We'll definitely I'll definitely continue doing some of the trip report, like how stuff's going, what I'm learning, what I've found out type stuff. But I'm going to do some other stuff too. Anyway. But yeah, we got a dog yesterday.
Man.
So
corgi?
Another corgi. Yeah. Okay. So we met a breeder years ago who was very nice, and her dogs are good. And she does the stuff right. And I remain a little bit iffy on the whole breeder situation, but we're like, hey, if you ever have one that comes back that somebody can't take, because if you get a dog from a real breeder, then they say, hey, don't just surrender this dog if it doesn't go well for you. I'll take it back. We'll figure it out. So we've talked to her a couple times. We tried a couple times, and the dog wasn't a great fit. And we drove up to see her yesterday, and the dog is dope. His name's Toby. He's 6 months old. He has the biggest, floppiest ears I've ever seen.
Great.
He is extremely chill so far. He's a little shell shocked because he moved from his original home to her and back to us in a pretty short period of time. So he's kind of figuring it out. But but he is a very, very good boy.
Man, well, congratulations.
I mean, maybe I'll just become a dog influencer. Maybe that's the next step here.
Man,
I don't know.
Is that a thing? That must be a thing.
People I know people whose dogs bought them houses.
What?
Yeah.
Man, where can I get a dog like that?
I mean, there you go. You gotta have it. Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know if he's photogenic enough for that. I also don't feel super great about exploiting him, but also,
yeah,
that seems like it seems like better than an ocelot thing. I don't know.
You just let your dog be a dog.
Yeah. Let the dog do dog stuff. That's what I say. Welcome to Brad and Will Made a Tech Pod. I'm Will.
I'm Brad. I have not recovered from that cold open yet.
I that might be the first time in 341 episodes that I legit shook you in the cold open.
It's just a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting any of that.
Some real life changes this week in the Smith house. It's weird because we watch we have a couple of dogs that we dog sit occasionally, and so dogs are around, but it's like Gina and I were talking about this morning, and it's very much like that realization, like 5 days after you bring a baby home from the hospital, you're like, oh shit, this person's going to live here for the next 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't, there's no take backsies on this. You're never going to catch up on sleep again. And, so you're like, oh, right. He's going to be a part of our lives for the next, hopefully 15 or 20 years. And, or at least, yeah. So anyway,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's good. You'll have to come meet. Well, we'll bring him to the Presidio sometime. You'll have to come meet him.
Yes. That seems like a good venue for a new dog.
Yeah.
To do dog stuff.
Yeah, he's much chiller than Chloe Bananas was so far. We'll see if that holds.
Toby not Bananas.
Toby
so far.
Toby, yeah. One of another friend of mine said his ears are so big because he's a desert dog, and I was like, oh, he's Mod Toby.
Is this like a different sub breed? Is it like, or is he just happens to have big ears?
I think he's at 6 months is kind of adolescent, so he's a little gangly.
Okay. Hasn't quite grown into the ears yet.
Hopefully he hasn't grown into the ears yet.
I'm Googling pictures of corgis with large ears right now to see if that's a thing.
Yeah, Chloe had pretty, I would say she was pretty median size ears. One of the corgis my sister had pretty small ears. So I've never seen, he has some gigantor ears, but they're very cute.
Well, you ever look at a dog and just see a wolf? You ever just think that used to be a wolf?
I mean, I wonder, because we get people with coyote dog interactions here sometimes positive, sometimes not.
That's bad stuff. I don't know. I could be wrong. I've always understood any dog coyote interaction is heading toward bad.
It depends on the size of the dog is my understanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they don't know. I don't think the dogs know that they used to be wolves. That's the thing that's always
probably not.
Like I think they look in the mirror and they're like, I don't know, man, I'm just a dog.
Yep.
What?
Yep. Selective breeding is weird.
Selective breeding is weird.
Genetics are weird.
Look, man, yeah. We did now between the time we got Chloe and now there's a genetic test for the main bad thing that happens to corgis, the degenerative myelopathy, the DM, which causes them to basically lose sensation, and they're starting at the end of one end of the spine and working up toward the brain.
Yikes.
It's not painful or anything, but it sucks. Chloe had it, and we didn't know until she was 10, obviously. But now they can test for it, which is awesome. So we know that he's clear, and that's not a problem, which is cool. Which is nice. But that's not what we're here. We're not here today to talk about the new dog.
Well, maybe we are, but
I mean,
also we're here to answer some questions.
Yeah, questions. And I'll pay the tax for the Discord folks. I'll pay the tax in the Pets and Desks channel, and I assume that I would be shocked if I don't also post some pictures on Blue Sky. They're probably already there if you go check that out.
I got to get back to that channel. That used to be my favorite channel on the Discord, and I've just kind of forgot.
It's it was for a bit. It was during the pandemic when we were all locked up at home. It was oh, hey, I need a good dopamine hit. I'm going to go scroll up a little bit here in the Pets and Desks.
Frankly, a good pet or a good desk
Either one.
Roughly about the equivalent on the dopamine release scale.
Yeah. Show me your sick rig. Show me let me see some chinchillas. I don't care, man. Whatever. It's all good.
Yeah. All right. How about some questions?
Yeah, it's the email address is techpod@content.town. The channel on the Discord, if you're in there, is questions seeking answers. And if you're not in the Discord, why not? You can go in there. It's part of the Patreon. You get in for $5 a month. There's smart, beautiful people in there talking about nerdy stuff all day long. And there is a channel called Desks and Pets where people post pictures of their desks and or their pets. We have some very good dogs in the TechPod Discord. Yeah. Very good animals in general. Pets.
Yep. Animals are cool.
Animals are cool.
All right.
Brad, what's our first, you got our first cue?
Let's hope these questions are cool as well.
I look, we were talking before the show. This was a banner crop this month. Yeah, the ratio of answer to not answer questions is off the charts.
Like a good variety.
Yeah.
Good broad cross section of stuff to talk about. All right. Let's just get started.
Yeah.
Kurt from Mississauga, Ontario. I've gone through the same emotional journey of not loving that every alarm you set in iOS saves it forever, but also not wanting to do the math for a longer timer. I should say like 800 different people, I think. Sent some form of this advice after that episode. So here we are.
Yeah. I got it on Blue Sky. Somebody sent me a message on Twitter. I'm sure I got a telegram coming.
It seems important to disseminate this information widely.
Yeah.
I found a method that works for me. Just delegate the math to Siri. Ask her to set a timer that will end at 3:15 p.m. and you're good to go. If you've got a few timers going at once, you can also label them. Asking to, quote, set a go get the keto timer that will end at 3:15 p.m. will set the appropriate timer and display that text when it goes off.
I use the name thing all the time when I'm cooking because it's great.
Done that, yeah.
But I did not know that you could just, and you don't even have to say that will end at. You can just say set a timer for 3:15 and it does a timer instead of an alarm, and then it doesn't crap up your alarm list.
Yep. They thought of everything.
Yeah.
Maybe not everything.
Look,
AI Siri doesn't seem to. What is going on with Apple's AI stuff?
I turned it off. I turned it off.
But there's also that stuff they announced like has it been 2? It's been almost 2 years now, right?
Two versions of iOS ago.
As of June, it'll be 2 WWDCs ago that they announced all those AI features that never came out.
Hey, you want some Genmoji? You can do that. Nobody cares.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's put NPUs in everything and then not think of anything good to use them for.
I mean, look, devote a double-digit percentage of your die space to NPUs that nobody knows what to do with. Great idea, guys.
Yeah. I found out right before this podcast that there's a Wildcat Lake SKU that does not have an NPU in it, and now I'm excited.
That's even better.
I'm excited that my eventual router box will have that in it, so that who needs AI stuff you're not going to use.
I think that there's a real chance if we do this right, we could be the #1 Wildcat Lake podcast on the internet.
I think that's... Like SEO wise, I would hope so. I think the first time I said those words was like 2 years ago or something.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, fingers crossed.
Okay, Joshua. I'm a university computer science instructor and was excited to hear about your recent discovery of Communications of the ACM. It is indeed the ACM's official publication, and Brad's observation that it's full of nerdy computer science stuff is spot on. Did you know that the ACM is the organizing body behind SIGGRAPH? I did not know that. Given your extensive background in video games and computer graphics, have you ever attended or thought about attending? I think you'd both get a lot out of it. It's in LA this year, so you wouldn't have to travel too far. I hate to say that since I read this email and went and looked at the website, I have considered the possibility of trying to go to SIGGRAPH.
I mean, it's like the unfortunate thing is it's the week before I'm going to LA for another thing.
Yeah, like it's kind of a bit of a rough time in July. Also, I have no idea what it would be like to even get in. I don't know that we could get in. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll give press passes. They invited us at Maximum PC for years and years, really? And I was never able to go because the timing was always. I want to say it used to be around the same weekend as Comic-Con, and we had a booth at Comic-Con, so I had to go to Comic-Con.
Okay. Time and logistics allowing, I would love to go to SIGGRAPH. I have wanted to go to SIGGRAPH since I became aware of it in the late 90s.
Yeah, it's so looking at the schedule, it's one of those things that like I feel like the percentage of talks and things that I would actually get anything useful out of.
Yeah.
Like
there is this.
It's got the GDC tech track problem, which is that the first 5 minutes of every single talk are really interesting to me, and then I don't have the technical knowledge to go beyond that.
Yep.
But there, like, I definitely watched a bunch of SIGGRAPH videos. Like, I watched the when Pixar did the universal UDF file format for 3D stuff, that one was really fascinating. Like, I've watched a bunch of these talks over the years. I watched a bunch of the real-time ray tracing stuff. I've watched a bunch of the theoretical talks about, I mean, I don't know. I've watched a bazillion of them.
Yeah, I guess we should say, for people who don't know, that SIGGRAPH is effectively the E3 of computer graphics. Like, it is the kind of leading industry sort of trade and knowledge exchange event for computer graphics research, and like emphasis on research. This is all like pretty bleeding edge, like white paper level stuff.
Yeah,
this is not like, hey, we're going to debut a new GPU here.
No, it's the computer science portion of computer graphics and vision. And like, we had talked about pitching at Foo because we were doing some weird stuff with animation and all that was maybe interesting. There's yes, I would love to go. I don't know if I can do it this year. Maybe next year we should look and plan it in advance and make the trip. I think more than going to the talks, because you can always watch the talks on the thing, I would like to just walk around and talk to people.
Yeah, that's
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, just surveying the show floor is the main thing that I thought would be cool.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, you could sit on some talks.
I mean, look, maybe if I find an Airbnb down there that I can get a weekly rate on, that's not too bad. We'll just go a week early. I got to see what the kiddo schedule is like. He's got camp and stuff this summer.
I did look, and they're always around here. They're always in like Anaheim or Colorado, or like it's not like it's a rare opportunity that it's like once in a decade on the West Coast or something. So
no, I thought it was in LA always for a long time. Anyway,
they've been kind of rotating it around the last few years. Okay. Vancouver last year, Denver, Los Angeles, Vancouver, Los Angeles, Vancouver.
Yeah,
Anaheim. There you go. So like,
and I'm also LA, basically
pretty local. But like, I became aware of SIGGRAPH through like in the late 90s. Like, some of the people I knew online that were fellow diehard Quake players also happened to turn out to be like 3D modelers and animators, and so they were aware of it from their discipline.
Yeah, well,
so it's been in the back of my mind ever since then. Also, like, knowing those people is how I knew what ray tracing was and how implausible it was when real time. Because I distinctly remember a conversation with one of those people around 2000 or somewhere where they told me, basically, they were like, if we had like infinite horsepower, we would just ray trace everything in games. But that will never happen in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Is how it was put to me. So about 20 years later, when NVIDIA was like, hey, guess what? I was like, oh my God, wow, shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
Okay. Nick from SF. Which I assume is San Francisco, but I suppose could be Santa Fe.
San Fernando.
Santa Fe or something like that.
South Philly.
That's the wrong.
South Philly.
I would think you of all people would know how Philly is spelled.
From West Philly.
Yes. My partner has a bunch of old issues of a magazine on a niche topic, and she was thinking about scanning them all and uploading them to the Internet Archive. These issues are all around 20 years old, and the magazine stopped running a long time ago, but the magazine's publisher is still around and active. Copyright law is sadly clear on this matter, but since Will used to work in magazines, we wondered how much would the original publishing company care about these issues finding their way online. To borrow a term from the software world, are these issues essentially abandonware at this point?
I'm not a lawyer. I don't represent this company. I don't know what company it is. It depends on the publisher and the likelihood that they're able to sell that content currently.
Yeah.
Because usually when you, especially in that time period, when you wrote something for a magazine, you as the author who would by U.S. law own the copyright of that, assign the copyright in perpetuity to the magazine. And even if you retained the copyright on the copy, the magazine layout and the images and all that stuff around it would be owned by the magazine publisher. That said, most publishers aren't going to give a damn about this. In fact, like there's some real benefit to having archival versions of your stuff available online, especially for a publishing company that's still publishing stuff in the same spaces. The other thing I was going to say is, if you're in the Bay Area, you might actually want to reach out to one of the magazine preservation groups. The Video Game History Foundation does some of this for gaming books. There's other folks that do it for other books that are other types of magazines that are associated with the Internet Archive. And it may be that like you want to talk to somebody like the setup that they have for scanning magazines at the Video Game History Foundation is really good. And it may be that you want to like talk to somebody over there and see if you can borrow time on that to scan these so that you get high quality scans instead of kind of those busted ass, like, the warped edge scans and all that stuff that are synonymous with Internet Archive. So
yep.
I do think the Video Game History Foundation scanning processes may be destructive, though. I'm not 100% on that.
I think I don't want to speak for them. I think like if it's a glued, like bound spine, I think that, yes, you have to pull it apart permanently. Obviously, if it's a stapled one, you should be able to put it back together, I think.
I do also know that the Internet Archive has page scanners that will work on bound stuff without unbinding.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
So it's worth finding somebody who has a similar collection and maybe reaching out to them and seeing where they got their stuff scanned rather than just like putting it on the flatbed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a judgment call, like you said, about how likely you are to face repercussions, but I kind of feel like unless the publisher is just especially litigious, like the value of preserving stuff like that is starting to outweigh the possibly infinitesimal risk.
Well, and I was going to say the other thing is the Internet Archive has an, what's it called? It's not an offset, a setback. That's a real estate thing, but basically they have a dispensation from the Library of Congress to bypass copyright on certain archival stuff.
Huh.
I don't know if magazines fall under that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
For now.
I mean, I hesitate to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people knowing about things is bad.
Possibly. All right. Here's an email from Jessica. In regards to the dot codes from printers that you talked about on episode 338, much like both of you, I had a vague idea that these dot codes existed on color laser and color inkjet printers. A friend was being stalked and harassed last fall, and I educated myself on this to help her. It's my understanding that these codes were created for tracking in the cases of counterfeit currency production, so the printer needs to have a certain fidelity, including resolution and color range, at which point the manufacturer is required to include the dot codes. The Electronic Frontier Foundation did have a program where you could just send them a test page from printers they didn't have cataloged, so they could be documented for the public. However, I don't believe the program is running anymore. The dot code is supposed to reveal the make and model and a timestamp for the prints, and possibly a serial number, though I don't recall. I educated myself on this last fall when my friend was being stalked, which included physical printouts. Thanks to dot codes, I was able to show the authorities that all the printouts were coming from the same printer, which helped them catch the individuals. Actually, if you want to try this out yourself, any USB microscope with 40x zoom should be able to read the codes, though locating them and documenting the code is an exercise in patience and eye strain.
I can't imagine finding these, but this was super useful. I had completely forgotten about the EFF thing. They were doing that years ago. We talked about it at the magazine back in the day.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's all good to know. And also, just as a side thing, I suddenly want to know way more about USB microscopes. That is a cool product category that I was not aware of.
Brad, I'm going to say we should just buy a couple USB microscopes and then do a USB microscope episode because they are really, really freaking cool.
Wow. I don't know. I can't speak to the quality of any of these, but there's some like very no-name-y sounding companies that are selling them on Amazon for like $35.
My guess
$50, $60, like it looks like you can get some halfway decent stuff.
My guess is you can get something really good for way less money than you would expect.
Wow.
I don't know about $35.
Could you use this for soldering? Is it good enough for that?
It's probably the wrong.
Yeah, it's probably
too much magnification for soldering.
Yeah, you're right. I said they're mostly showing off using these to like zoom in on coins and things like that. There's
you want like
a couple of circuit boards in here
for soldering and stuff like that. You want like 2 to 10x probably.
Oh yeah, sure.
40x is going to be a lot for that.
Yeah,
but like dissecting scopes work great for soldering. I actually. We haven't talked about this yet, but I bought a pair when I was at the eye doctor the other day. I asked the eye doctor what I should get to do because I was like, jeweler's loops require me to hold the thing too close. I need it further away. And she's like, you want dentist loops or surgeon's loops, they're called sometimes. And you clip them onto your glasses or can screw them into your glasses even. And they're the ones that sit in front of your eyes and they're designed to be held at arm length. So you can, they're super good. Highly recommended. You won't be able to see the dots with those, though.
Speaking of episodes, we should think about doing. I had to put this on pause when I had that surgery, but I was also in the process of sort of revising my, eyewear regime, let's say. because these regular progressive lenses are super not cutting it at the computer anymore.
Yeah.
And
So
I spent a fair amount of time talking to the eye doctor about options for glasses sitting at computers, and there's all kinds.
yep.
And it's kind of a hard decision to make, honestly.
I literally have 4 prescriptions sitting in my hands right now, and I can't decide which way I'm going to go. The progressives for my prescription are so expensive that I'm afraid almost to do them, because I'm going to be stuck with them if they don't work out. And like, yeah. So anyway, I'm with you. Yeah. I also saw an ad when I was driving around San Francisco last night for Zenny's IR, like face tracking blocking lenses now. Zenny's the cheap Chinese lens place. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is I have blue light blocking on the current ones, but I could get infrared blocking. That's maybe, but what if I block all light and they're just like, they keep me safe from seeing anything?
Now you're
Sounds
talking.
even better.
Yeah. I asked my eye doctor, I was like, can I just get some that sort of correct for about 2.5 feet in front of me? And she was like, sure, you can do that if you want, but then you're not going to be able to see anything else around you at all. So
my eye doctor was super into this idea. She was like, yeah, you should absolutely do that.
Well, so I mean, there are all kinds of options for this, but where the decision comes in is how much of each lens is devoted to which correction factor.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want, and that even varies by lens maker. Like this practice only deals in Zeiss lenses, and they have a whole line of lenses that are like 80% for computer and like 20% or like 15% at the bottom for super up close, 5% at the top for distance for the room or what, it's just like
who is doing
there's some well, it's just to give you a little bit so that you otherwise, because again, that's like I was saying, if you have a pair that is just for the distance you sit from a monitor, then you can't see anything but at the distance of the monitor. So at that point, you just have to put on another pair to get up and walk around.
That good bokeh though.
So yeah, there's a lot of decisions to make around custom eyewear or not custom, but specific eyewear designed for computers.
We literally had the same conversation with our eye care professionals, and I think I'm going to end up doing a pair of computer glasses and then a pair of everything else glasses that are maybe progressive.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm going to land as well.
Yeah. And then I have sunglasses for outside that are still good.
Yeah. So. Mark H from the UK. It was better in the good old days was always what we were told growing up, but now it seems like for a lot of things that's true in tech. Web apps replacing software, Discord replacing forums for support, etc. Also true outside of it, such as tickets for events going from a few dollars to hundreds. How do you guys reconcile, or pounds, I should say, in this case being from the UK. How do you guys reconcile when someone brings in the new shiny and try to assess it fairly and make sure you're not resorting to the older way clearly seems better to an old crank like me? I get it's a different life for people in their 20s these days, but it just seems worse in a lot of ways, and people had things taken from them without knowing. Maybe I'm having a midlife crisis. I don't want to be a cranky old man, and I do always try the new way, but sometimes I like my old ways fine. Oh man, maybe I finally turned into my dad.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I can think of to say in response to this is like you can just kind of check yourself and make sure there's something that you think is better these days is a good barometer.
Yeah,
to try to figure out if you're clinging to the past too much. Like there's all kinds of stuff in computing that I would say is unequivocally better than it was 10 or 20 or 30 years ago.
Yeah, even like I complain a lot about like the complexity of modern PC, like the UEFI, all the disaggregated architectures and the asymmetric architectures and stuff like that, and how complicated that's made everything. I wouldn't go back to a Nehalem.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Like I'm not gonna get rid of my iPhone 15 and go back to an iPhone 4, even though, was the iPhone 4 the best iPhone of all time? Maybe. Did we ever rank those? We should do that.
Oh boy. Just iPhones?
Yeah.
That's dodgy. I don't know. I don't think I touched enough iPhones to.
I think that's even better. You can make some fully formed opinions.
I missed some crucial iPhones in there, but yeah, I mean, frankly, at a technical level, I would practically say that everything is better in computing at a low technological level in terms of progress and evolution. Like all of most of the problems these days are driven by policy.
Yeah, for the most part, we're doing more with less power, and like it's faster and better and more reliable, and like
the ubiquity of cheap compute is like a a pure net good, right? Like computers are faster and cheaper outside of the current crisis.
But also the underlying software is fundamentally more reliable and more robust, right? The problem is the stuff that's layered on top of that base layer of software, and the fact that we have decided as a species to trade our time and attention for subsidized cost on software or whatever services is the disaster. Yeah. And I think that's manageable at this point. I'm feeling a lot better about that now than I was 6 months ago. Like my wife the other day, for the first time ever, was like, "Hey, do we need to get off of Google?" And I was like, "Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting to have this conversation with you ever." But yeah, like, yes, long term, short term, no, we're probably fine. You know, it's the fact that, hey, Google's getting rid of search and replacing it with this AI garbage has filtered down to shit that she sees was shocking to me.
Yep.
So yeah, like that stuff's bad. I find like the Linux stuff day to day has been full of joy for me because it's all, it feels like the good parts of computing with the good in the old days with the good parts of hardware and reliability and stuff today.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say where computing is constrained by what we can do, everything is excellence. Where computing is constrained by what somebody has chosen to do is where all the bad stuff is. Like it's all policy choices being made by the gatekeepers of this stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
At the low level, what the hardware has become and can do is pretty marvelous. So,
and also you can choose not to engage with the gatekeepers. Like that's optional at this point.
Yeah, mostly.
And also you might be having a midlife crisis just to be like, look.
Oh, you definitely are. Everyone does.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's been a weird 10 years, whatever we're at, 12 years at this point, for a whole host of reasons. I told a friend the other day who was like, "Hey, I'm having a midlife crisis. I think I want to get a racing rig for my computer." And I was like, "You should absolutely do that. In terms of midlife crises, that's a pretty cheap one and you're going to have a lot of fun. And then when you're done with that thing, you can sell it and you'll make your money back, right? Like go have fun."
Yep.
So pick something cheap and don't yell at the kids too much.
Yeah, I go back and forth on how to address this because you run the risk of people thinking you're defending the status quo, but I occasionally feel like recommending to people like, hey, it might be good to cultivate some interests in the computer space that are less capital intensive, less requiring like extreme new hardware. I don't know what those are for any given person. Like in my case, it turned out that I like tinkering with open source stuff and Linux and writing some amount of code and et cetera. And you can do that basically for free on anything these days. And that's cool. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Like that is not to excuse the fact that you need to do things like that, but like just as a measure towards sustainability in an uncertain world, let's say, where you are subject to all kinds of forces that you have very little control over. It's good to have some stuff in your back pocket that you can fall back on when the next time graphics cards increase 5x in price again.
Yeah, exactly.
Etc.
And if all else fails, touch grass. Always good.
Yes. Also, just go outside and talk to people or go do stuff.
You don't even have to talk to them. Just go walk around. Yeah. Just be in the world.
That works too.
Take your Zune out and go on a walk. That's what I say.
Yeah. All right. Big head mode is the signature on this email.
Okay.
Beats, Beets, is a command line music tag manager. It has a good library of plugins and supports any configuration you can imagine. It can support automatic tagging and can run nearly unsupervised. You might want to back up your library and start slow because by default it moves your library and applies tags to your music, but you can configure it to not do that.
So, okay, we talked about this a little bit last month, maybe? Was it last month? Or no?
Yeah, you flagged this for reading. I can't remember what occasioned this email response, but we must have talked about tagging at some point.
The problem, well, it was probably in relation to the Zune, because we talked about that in a cold open a few weeks ago.
Right.
So I tried several things. I tried Easy Tag Manager, which is, just an ID3 tag manager. It did a bunch of weird renaming and stuff. I tried Music Brain's Picard, which uses the fingerprint of the song to identify and properly tag. It was a little scary because it also changed stuff kind of unprompted. You had to press the apply button on it, but it didn't do it unprompted. The things I ended up landing on are KID3, KID3, which I guess is a KDE ID3 tag manager that they've also ported to other platforms. And Beats is also quite good. Both of those are really, really good. So highly recommended. I think Music Brain Picard's, a lot of people really like Music Brain's Picard. The interface I found a little bit confusing, and I probably should have started a folder at a time instead of just, or an artist at a time instead of dumping the entire folder in. I feel like once you get to a basic level of clean, then that's going to do what you want. And maybe like my MP3s are pretty clean because I just have stuff that I've ripped off of my own CDs. So like the worst thing I've done is do disc 1, disc 2 in the album title for multi-disc sets and stuff like that. And it didn't know how to handle that exactly the way I would have wanted, but Kid 3 did, so it worked out.
Yeah, that's why I don't actually run anything like that. I've certainly considered it. I've looked at Beats before because my whole music library is on my server, so shouldn't I just run a headless thing on the server?
Yep.
That keeps all the tags in order, but the problem is it keeps them in the order that it thinks are in order and not what I think is in order, and I have too many opinions about things like capitalization standards for that.
No. Here he goes again.
I ain't letting some robot tell me that from should be capitalized.
Wow.
It's a preposition
from
of 4 letters or more, so it's capitalized.
I think if it's capitalized on the album art, it should be capitalized in the title. See? It's an artistic choice.
See, so many differing opinions. The only choice is to maintain your own tags.
Yeah, there you go. Just do it manually.
Anyway, yes, there are a lot of options for auto tagging out there for sure.
Look, I have a puppy. I don't have time to tag stuff manually. Are you crazy?
Yeah. Yes. This is an interesting email from Joey in Oakville, Ontario.
Okay.
Because I talked to Adam not a couple days ago about he after our cooling episode the other day or last week, he dropped the idea of, well, I'll just read this email and then say Adam also had suggested something similar, but here's more detail. I just listened to the episode about CPU coolers and fan curves and wanted to share the fairly simple curve that I use that works very well. I'm cooling my 13700K with a Dark Rock Elite air cooler, and this rig is primarily used for gaming with an RTX 4090. To start, I have all my case fans running at a constant speed of 50%. They are all 140 to 200 millimeter fans and are fairly quiet for the amount of air they move. I then run my CPU cooler fans at a constant 60%. The fans that come with the Dark Rock Elite are 135 millimeter and are fairly quiet at 60%. I then set my CPU curve to only ramp CPU and exhaust fans to 100% when my CPU is 90 degrees or higher. This is all Celsius, of course.
Yeah.
This works great because on the minimal times, my CPU temp reaches 90 during gameplay, usually during shader compilation runs. My 4090 is usually at full load, so you can't hear the CPU RANs famping up.
The CPU RANs famping up?
This is a lot. The 4090 is usually at full load, so you can't hear the CPU fans ramping up over the GPU fans.
Look, everybody loves a RANs famping.
Yes, just wanted to share this as it has made the noise coming out of my PC far more consistent, and my components are running very cool and reliably.
This is a totally valid way to approach this.
Yeah, I didn't, like I said, Adam made this suggestion the other day as well, and I don't think I had ever encountered this kind of philosophy, but it seems pretty viable to me.
This is what I do on my daughter's small form factor. So, and it works great. Okay. All air cooled, just static temperature, static speeds with end of the curve for when something weird happens.
Sure. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I might give this a try. I am staring at AIOs as we speak.
How many tabs do you have open on Amazon right now?
Zero. I have not done like a tab run on AIOs.
Okay.
Like I've just occasionally pulled up a couple of rankings here and there to see what the performance is like. I just don't think I can bring myself to get that Arctic liquid freezer because I just don't want to deal with contact frame.
I get that. There's a bunch of other good options that are similarly priced. Like I have some real problems with some of the stuff NZXT has done in the last few years, but their AIOs have been really reliable for me in the past, and they have a nice range of prices and sizes. And they're also well supported by liquid control and HWMod and stuff like that.
I'll start looking around. It's funny. It's not even the price. I mean, obviously I don't want it to break the bank, but it's not even the price so much as I just want something without a lot of frills. Like so many of them are just so RGB'd out, or they've got a big screen on the water block or whatever. And I'm never going to see any of that stuff. And I just don't want it.
So the thing I will say is having a small screen, if it doesn't cost a lot of money, that just displays the liquid temperature is kind of a nice safety factor.
Yeah, I could see that. Sure.
But yeah, you have a case with no windows. You don't need a bunch of RGB nonsense, and that's what they charge a lot for.
Yep,
so
that's exactly it.
Somebody also pointed out that at no point during that episode last week did we say that AIO is an all-in-one water cooling solution for PC loops. So it's for the CPU loop usually. It's usually a small water block with a copper or some other metal plate that goes on top of your CPU and has a pump and a little reservoir there, and then 2 hoses that go to and from a radiator with a bunch of fans attached to it. Sorry about that. That's our bad.
Okay.
We did this Jordan one next.
Yes, you highlighted the. I'm just going to let you read it since you highlighted it.
I'm a bit confused by Brad's statement at the end of the pod. Oh, this is from Jordan. I'm a bit confused by Brad's statement at the end of the podcast about Mac being bad at non-Apple monitors in different resolutions. He said it's been a while since he tried it, so maybe it was a decade or so ago. But I have a MacBook M4 with an Alienware 3840 by 1600 monitor, and it's great. The only downside is it doesn't have USB-C input, so I have to use a dongle. So yes, doing the laptop plugin is great, and just switching computers when you're gaming works. Thanks. That was at 8:20 a.m. on May 25th. At 2:35 p.m. on May 25th, I am actually now noticing bad text rendering. Thanks, Brad. Lol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess that's what I was thinking of. Some other people on the Discord.
We got several of these too, for the record.
Oh, really? The people just noticing? Oh, that's
ruined people's lives.
Sorry. Look, man.
Yeah.
What you
now you know. The more you know.
What you don't know can't hurt you, I suppose, or maybe maybe it can. Yeah. But somebody on the Discord, I wish I had it in front of me. I could maybe pull it up. Somebody explained why this happens, and I can't. It's something about Apple's font rendering. Maybe depends on certain
subpixel alignment or something.
Certain characteristics of the monitors, and if those things are not present on the screen you plug your Mac into, then the font rendering will look bad. I don't know.
I wonder if that's why, like, the monitor vendors, I know like Asus and Acer both have they call them like pro content monitors or something. Asus has pro art monitors that I wonder if they're the right subpixels for Apple systems.
All right, another question from Levi here. I just got a secondhand Steam Deck. Do you folks have recommendations for games, accessories, or general tips and tricks?
Well, okay. So the Steam Deck is not a super accessory necessary console. It's not like the Switch where you want like some sort of regular gamepad to go with it or something like that. And you don't need grips because the grips are built in. It comes with a case for the most part. If you travel a bunch and want to have more than the kind of 2 to 4 hours of battery you're going to get out of it, maybe consider a big giant battery is the one accessory that is useful. I have one of those big, like 24,000 milliamp hour batteries. That's like, you know, that'll give me a couple more hours of use if I'm on a long plane ride.
Sure.
I play a lot of 2D and kind of indie stuff on it, but I also occasionally fire up, like I played some Subnautica 2 on it the other day, and it runs great. I think like I tend to have always a couple of indie, like I've been playing some Hollow Knight Silksong again. I almost always have Dead Cells on it. I have Hades and those kinds of games. I play a lot of Sectori. I've been playing what's that, TerraTech Legion? I was
just about to say TerraTech Legion that's probably the most widely amplified game recommendation I've made in a minute on the Nextlander podcast.
Yeah.
And someone in paper on the Nextlander Discord brought it to my attention, so it's not like I discovered this. But,
dude, it is a banger.
But I've seen a bunch of people talk about playing that game since I mentioned it. It's basically a Vampire Survivors with a vehicle builder component. You
described it to me as a nuts and bolts like vehicle builder.
Yeah. I'm trying to walk back from that because there's got to be newer and more widely played game like that. I can't believe I'm saying this. It occurred to me in the course of talking about this game that Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is 18 years old.
Oh no,
that game's almost 20 years. That game is almost 20 years old. So, which means Giant Bomb is also almost 20 years old. Anyway,
look, man, in a just and perfect world, we would be playing a new Nuts and Bolts alike every year instead of a Metroidvania.
Yeah, well, there are things beyond the vehicle building and Nuts and Bolts that were pretty singular to that game that I don't know that just anybody could recapture, but I'm with you.
But the vehicle building was
great.
Yeah, amazing.
It was fantastic. But the point I'm making is there have to be more widely played and newer games that also use that same style of kind of block-based vehicle building with component stuff.
I mean, arguably, that's how the fort building in Fortnite works, but they don't let you hang a jet booster off the side of your building in Fortnite.
Yeah. So anyway, this is
like a real missed opportunity, honestly.
This is like a Vampire Survivors where you can place all the weapons yourself where you want on the vehicle to control like what direction they shoot and how they shoot, which is just endless fun.
I'm I made a car that has like 12 wheels on it the other day.
Whoa, interesting.
It goes fast and turns real good.
Wait, hang on. Are the wheels additive? Like, is it the more wheels you put, the more
plus?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it worked like that. Oh,
it is the stupidest possible way to implement that, and it works. You can do real crimes. Like,
oh wow!
I made basically a one-sided battleship that I just circle stuff always on the right.
Wow!
And it just always be blasting.
I gotta get more creative with my layouts.
Yeah, you got to min-max that shit.
That game's very cool, and it's
extremely good.
And a lot of people are playing it on Steam Deck from the feedback I've gotten.
Yeah. So let's see. It's a little chunky on Steam Deck, but there is a Steam Deck mode. It doesn't default to that. When you switch it to that, it runs fine. That's the one piece of advice I have, is that often games will have, sometimes they're hidden, sometimes they're not. We've talked about it before, but the ProtonDB site has a Steam Deck preset section, and they'll help you if you have a game that doesn't run the way you would expect. That they help you get there, because, like, in fairness, that hardware is pretty old at this point. It's like RDNA 2 graphics, which is two full generations back. It's a relatively low power APU. It only runs at like 15 watts. It's not, but because they've sold a bunch of them and people are tuning for it, you can get a really good experience out of it on a shocking range of games. So
indeed,
but have fun.
Indeed.
And then, last thing I was going to say is adding the retro stuff. There's a couple of packages that are specifically for Steam Deck emulation, if you're interested in that. So you can get a SNES emulator, GameCube emulator, or whatever you want.
Yeah. My tip and or trick for buying a secondhand portable device is dunk that thing in isopropyl alcohol. I mean, don't actually do that, but
no,
probably.
But wipe it off. Maybe.
It probably does not hurt to wipe that thing down before wide usage. Okay.
A little UV, put it out in the sun for a couple hours.
Yeah. Kind of spiff it up a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Helen C. asks on Discord. We're moving into Discord questions here.
Okay.
Are there any websites where you have allowed notifications? If you had to genuinely allow notifications for one website that you don't already have an app for, what would it be? I don't think I ever have. I genuinely do not think I have ever said yes to notifications from a website.
I use a web-based calendar with Fastmail, so I have notifications on for that.
Okay. I don't know if that counts for the spirit of this question, though, because that's like that just happens to be a web-based app that is part of a service you've chosen to use. I feel like this, I mean, you know, technically, yes, the letter of the question is satisfied, but I'm thinking of the endless websites that nag you about enabling notifications from whom you definitely don't want notifications.
I'm going into my Firefox settings to see what I've turned on.
Oh, yeah, good call. I don't know where that's buried in Chrome, and also I should really probably stop using Chrome. But anyway.
Okay, I've turned on notifications for inspector.twitch.tv, which is the site you use to test your stream stability on Twitch.
Okay.
I have it on for mail.google. I have it on for app.fastmail. I have it on for Embark Games, apparently. We're turning that off.
Interesting.
Block. I have it on for Google Drive, so I get share notifications, and I have it on for Google Meet because I do use Google Meet for reasons.
That makes sense. Sure enough, I do not have a single site flagged for notifications.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep it that way.
Firefox has a check mark that says block new requests to allow notifications. That seems useful.
Yeah. Yep.
Notifications on websites are a blight, generally speaking.
Yes. Agreed. Warbird has perhaps the question of our time.
This is the repeat question from the last 6 months.
No. Okay. This is an urgent issue. Is there some preferably German term for the feeling of despair that comes from finding a super interesting project that fits some hyper specific interest of yours, only to check the source code and find that it's AI slop?
Oh yeah,
I fully identify with this feeling. I've had this experience 3 or 4 times probably at this point.
Yeah, you get to the end and it's like, hey, I don't know how well this is going to work. I just asked Claude to write this, and this is what I got.
And so, I mean, that's maybe the most insidious part of this whole thing, is that you really have to develop a sense of how much is too much. I mean, it's perfectly acceptable to say any amount is too much, but there is a difference between, you'll find projects out there where it's like people are making 30 commits a day of hundreds of lines each, it is just very obvious they are just having a chatbot churn out some shit and merging it without even paying attention to what it's doing. But then there are situations like there is retro achievements support on the Mister now. I don't know if you've seen this.
What?
Do you know
Really?
Do you know what retro achievements is?
Yeah.
It's like a centralized repository where they have come up with a whole framework for adding achievements to classic emulated games. There are versions of all the Mister, maybe not all, but I think slowly they're adding more and more versions of the Mister cores that have retro achievement support. And then I dug into it a little bit, and the author of those cores is using AI to help with that. But I also dug into, like, I kind of looked at them chatting with other developers on the Mister Discord, and this person is like clearly a programmer and like knows hardware.
Yeah,
so like that's way more of a gray area where like, and I think I even saw them saying they've built a cartridge interface that can wire retro achievements into like a real NES, like they clearly have got actual hardware development chops.
I think there's a difference when we've talked about this a little in the past, but I feel like there's a difference between, hey, I've never written software before, and I just ask the machine to write a thing that does a task for me. And hey, I architect a lot of software, and I ask the machine to write a function that does this particular thing to whatever input for me. And one of those feels better than the other, and I don't exactly know why or if it's fair.
Right. Yeah.
But
well, I mean, yeah, they should definitely feel different. I mean, or in that case, it could be like, oh, I write software all the time, but I don't know anything about Verilog or VHDL, like the languages you write FPGA designs in, for example. Like I can see that being a little more acceptable. I don't know. I still feel like in a perfect world, I'd rather not run any AI code at all.
But I got bad news for you, dude.
Seems like a pipe dream. I mean, even
you run Windows, right?
Yeah, yes. But like Linux is kind of the same. Like,
yeah, how do I know?
Linux has got I'd have to pull up the policy, but like Linus Torvalds has talked some about, like they have a policy for the kernel. Like it's.
Yeah, but I have like 3 packages that are controlled by that policy. And then I have another 2,000 that are, the arbitrary policy of whoever started whatever project I'm running.
But to the point, I mean, what I mean is even a project as sanctified and long running as the Linux kernel is going to allow some AI code in there. So like it is like, you're just probably not going to get away with never running any AI code, provided you even knew you were in the first place, which in most cases you won't.
This is the mid 2020s version of the feeling of finding like a blog, like having a problem and finding a post about it from like 15 years ago and not being able to, and then it's one person who nobody ever responded to and they have the exact same problem you're having. And you're like, well, how did you do this, brother?
Or the slightly more modern version of that, the Reddit thread containing a solution for your problem, except the solution post has been mass deleted by the person who got mad about that Reddit policy change a couple of years ago.
I mean, they weren't wrong to do it because like the only value that Reddit has now, it seems like, is that it ranks really high on Google inexplicably still. So, but yeah, that's terrible. Yeah. It sucks every time.
Yep. Park. When did click, pause, click become the standard for renaming files in a file explorer? You got to live that F2 life. F2 is like probably my most used F, actually.
Click, pause, click. Do they mean they click the name of the file and wait for it?
Yeah, what they're talking about is, and I think this is, this definitely works in Mac OS and Windows, and I'm guessing most of the Linux desktops that have icons on the desktop allow the same thing or do the same thing. Like GNOME doesn't really do desktop icons unless you mod that, but KDE.
Nautilus does not do this.
Does not let you kind of soft second click to rename? Really?
No.
Interesting. I thought that was just kind of GUI standard these days.
I've been an F2 or right click rename for 20 years at this point.
Yeah,
I'm not going to change.
I always click icon F2. In fact, F2 turns out to work in places that are not file managers in a lot of cases. There's like
really
a surprising number. I can't think of. There's been a couple of applications recently where I reflexively hit F2 just because that's what I'm used to. Mm-hmm. My brain says F2 equals rename, and it actually worked. And so that's one of those like soft hotkeys that is kind of honored in places you might not expect.
How? Okay, so F1 always was help. F5 is always refresh.
Yes.
What are F3 and F4?
I don't know. I mean, I can tell you what Alt F4 is. Why don't you?
Should I try that?
Yeah, why not? Give it a shot.
I don't think it's going to do anything in Linux.
I don't know. F6. Wait, nope, which one nothing. Which one is help? Did you say F1?
F1. Brad doesn't need help. That's a flex.
I mean, what is it? F5 and F9 in games for quick save and quick load, or the
F6 or F9?
Or is it F6 and F9?
I think some people did F5, some people did F9.
I don't know. I can't think of any other major Fs, but
I can think of some other major Fs.
Yeah. F2 to rename, though.
Oh, Logitech has a page for this.
Oh, okay.
F1 is the help menu. F2 is renames. F3 is search. Alt F4 closes the current window. F5 refreshes the page or current document. F6 moves the cursor to the address bar in browsers. Really? I always use Control L for that.
Control L is my go-to there. I didn't wait. Well, does that really work?
That works. Yeah. No.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
F7 activates spell check in Microsoft Office apps, a thing that I definitely do all the time.
And in Google Docs, I can tell you.
F8 boots into safe mode in older Windows versions.
True.
F9 refreshes documents in Word, sends or receives the email in Outlook. And F10 activates the menu bar or right clicks if you hold down Shift.
Okay.
There you go.
The more you know.
Yeah, this is wild.
Yeah.
Oh, F11 is full screen mode in browsers.
Oh, of course.
There
yes.
You go.
And F12
is... I do use that.
F12 is usually developer tools.
Or save as.
In a browser.
In Word,
well.
apparently.
Yeah.
Hey, the more you know.
Yes. Okay, question from Bertrand. Both of you have experimented with Plex alternatives. How has that experience evolved over the last few years? How well do the FOSS alternatives stack up against Plex in 2026? Starting July 1st, Plex is raising the price of their lifetime Plex pass by $500, jumping all the way up to $750 from the current $250.
That is insanity.
That's a lot. That is a lot.
I
increasingly wish I had just paid the $125 or whatever it was when they were about to raise it the first time, but I stubbornly was like, and I mean, this is still true. I was not super thrilled with where Plex was at the time and did not necessarily feel great about dumping money into it at the time. They were adding like emulators and live TV and all this other stuff that really felt like it was diluting what Plex was supposed to be about.
Look, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm pretty smug about happily signing over the $125 or $150, whatever it was back in the day for the Plex annual.
The worst part is that occasionally, like once a year, it would go on sale for like $75. I should have.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this view, but I have spoken to people on Discord who feel like it's kind of unethical that they charge money like this for a product that's built entirely on open source components. Like they use FFmpeg under the hood to handle all the heavy video lifting of Plex, for example.
Look, they share their code that they modify.
Yeah, I guess,
like this is the law.
Yeah,
they're following the rules.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure that I necessarily fully agree with that, but
look, this software didn't exist at all before Plex. Right? Like if you wanted this,
was Plex the first one?
Well, Plex was the first one that didn't suck. There were a bunch of things that use like DLNA and stuff like that.
Actually,
that were terrible.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, I think you could argue that stuff like Xbox Media Center predates Plex and probably actually started this whole thing. Because isn't MB is actually a fork of Xbox Media Center? MB is a fork of that, isn't it?
Yeah. But the thing is, those didn't do the important thing, which was
the library management.
Well, no, it's the library management and the transcode for endpoints. Yeah, so like, if you were playing on a PC or something that had a really robust decoder, like an NVIDIA Shield, it didn't matter what you played on. But like the fact that this just worked and it was fairly idiot proof and you could run a server really easily on a computer you already had, and it would work with your Roku and your Apple TV and your Google TV and all the stuff, like the stuff that's built into your TV. Like it's a lot of work. They maintain a buttload of client apps, and like that's the place.
I guess they do.
Because it's all the platforms and the tvOS, and
Plex app on Apple TV is not great. For example, like some of the clients are better than others, or some clearly get more attention than others.
Yeah, but the basic functionalities are the same across all of them, and that's the problem with the Jellyfin stuff in my experience. The server is way heavier. I can't run the Jellyfin server on my N100 machine. It's too slow. It eats all the available resources, and everything else on the machine goes to hell. So, like in that regard, the server is more robust and reliable. Now, is it worth $800 to use?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think so. What's their monthly pricing? I think that this is.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I'm looking and I can't find it.
I have even less interest in engaging with that pricing model.
So the Stream Anywhere, the Remote Watch is $2 a month, which is reasonable. And the Plex Pass is still $7 a month. So like, I can't imagine paying $750 for the lifetime.
Yeah, I agree. They're exactly two paywalled Plex features that I can think of that I would ever use, which are transcoding and the ability to download music to Plex amp locally.
Yeah.
But Jellyfin does both of those already.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's kind of tough for me to, I don't know, man. But Jellyfin's not quite. You
have a way beefier server.
Well, the bigger thing is I never transcode. Like I don't even use these things much in general. Like I use Plex amp is my most used part of Plex probably. Like I just actually don't stream that much video. Like realistically, I'm mostly playing video games or tinkering with computers or stuff.
I don't, but the people in my house do. Yeah, so therefore so I'm not servicing some like clientele that needs more advanced video features. So I'm actually good, but Jellyfin has a ways to go. It's getting there, but I think to me, the dopey part of this decision is that like the thing about Jellyfin is it's in the part of the curve right now that where the improvements start coming really fast, and the open source alternatives to Plex are going to bypass the main Plex in the not too distant future.
Yeah, Jellyfin has done some project reorganization in terms of the way they handle contributions, and then they also did like a big database overhaul. I believe it was last fall, where they basically there was an update that came out that was like, hey, we are addressing like years of tech debt in this thing. We are modernizing our database. We are laying the groundwork for this thing to become much better in the near future. And so I think hopefully they are going to continue making progress.
I should update it again and try it, because the last time I did the server was more than a year ago, and it was churning on like the asset management with the size of my library was the problem. It seemed like. So the other thing is the client stuff has to be better. The clients that I tested on some of the Apple devices were friggin' terrible. The Android stuff was consistently better across the board. So if you're on Android, it's a little bit better situation. Than iOS.
SwiftFin is supposed to be the big iOS client, but I think development has stalled on that. And there's just some basic stuff about Jellyfin that still, the two things that I have issues with are thumbnails are still not universal. Like they just added thumbnails like in the last year or two, period. And there's some clients that still don't support them well or at all.
Nothing like changing to the new hot client and realizing that all of your thumbnails are bad and you've got to spend 10 hours having it go through those and download the new size.
Oh, well, I like that part. I like watching the progress bar as it crunches thumbnails from, I can imagine writing the thumbnail extractor for that. That's not a problem. What I'm saying is they don't display thumbnails. Like the client just does not show thumbnails, which is kind of a deal breaker for scrubbing. I also have issues with HDR reproduction in Jellyfin. Like the HDR just doesn't look right for some stuff. Like I can side by side it with Plex, and Plex will play it just fine, and then it doesn't look right. Like I don't know if that's tone mapping or what, but
it's a hard problem. It took Plex years and years to get that right. And again, it's another one of those things that requires beefy computers.
Yeah. And there's not a music playback app as good as Plex Amp that I have found on iOS either. There's like several that are okay, but none of them are quite there. So
Plex Amp is rad. It's super good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So yeah, but like, I think my point is, if you pay before you reach $750 and $7 a month, there'll be a better alternative to Plex. They've essentially put a time limit on their own death warrant by doing the pricing like this.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
Also, maybe it's just that they don't want to do lifetime subs, and this is their way of saying, "Hey,
yes, yeah, that's what this actually is." they want to, and like on one level, I get the argument.
100%.
They want to support ongoing development, and they need more money to do that. But anyway, we've probably gotten feedback on the pronunciation of this username before, but I've forgotten it. Mangix or Mangix. What's your bet on how long we'll be in the NAND apocalypse? Do you think we'll see more devices built with upgradability in mind as a result? It'd be nice if I could just update the screen or processor on my Steam Deck and preserve my existing RAM and storage, for example.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think they're using NAND apocalypse to also include RAM here. I think that's really the everything apocalypse on computer hardware.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's impossible to predict, right? Because we're not going to know until you won't know. You don't know the bubble's going to pop until the bubble pops.
Yeah, the earliest predictions I saw from analysts when all this stuff really started getting bad was through the end of the decade, and I am just kind of sticking to that general outlook until I hear different.
The earliest I've seen was end of 2027, which seems like 100 years from now, but it's also the end of next year, apparently. So
actually not that far off. Did you see, I saw this on Digital Foundry. I don't know who originally reported it. It might've been them, that I think it was Corsair is going to start sourcing DDR5 from a Chinese fabrication outfit for their graphics cards, or no, for their DRAM, like for their DIMMs, just full on system memory.
So Chinese fabs are ramping up on both RAM and NAND.
Yeah, I forget the name of the company, but there is a company in China that is ramping up pretty quickly on this stuff. I mean, I think most DRAM is fabbed at 10 nanometer, so maybe that's slightly less insanely complicated than the really high-end like processor stuff that TSMC does.
So I talked to a friend who works in fabs. The problem is that you require specific tooling for NAND and for RAM. So it's not like you can take a 10 nanometer CPU fab and make it into a NAND fab necessarily. Yeah, at least not. It's not a turnkey solution. It has overhead and capital expenses and stuff like that.
Yeah, hopefully that makes it less complicated for new build outs though. But I mean, I also don't know where import export controls might factor into. Let's say at least here in America, they're not super stoked about computing products coming out of China lately in terms of federal government policy. So I don't know if that will be possible in this market, but I mean, even something that relaxes demand in a different territory would presumably have the knock-on effect of creating more supply from other suppliers here. So,
they do love putting tariffs on stuff from China.
Yeah, they sure do. Assuming they allow the products to be sold here at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a big non-answer.
Everything's going great.
It's a big non-answer to say we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Expect the best, prepare for the worst.
Let's put it this way. I was at a barbecue with a whole bunch of huge computer nerds last weekend. And one of the conversations that I had multiple times was, should I clock my memory down right now? And the consistent answer was, yeah, it doesn't seem like it hurts.
Yeah, it definitely can't hurt. I mean, I tend to feel like if you're running the speed on the box, or more to the point, if you're running XMP or what's the AMD equivalent? Expo. Like if you're running the exact settings on the box, you're probably fine. You're probably fine. But I would not push past that.
Probably fine.
You probably don't want to kill your RAM.
No, this is a bad time to kill your RAM.
We have time for a couple more.
We can do one or two more, yeah.
Okay. Mono. It's mostly a question for you. I have Carvana scheduled to pick up my old ICE Kona and drop off a 2024 Ioniq 5 with 20,000 miles on it in just a few days. My first EV. Any first-time EV owner suggestions generally, and Ioniq 5 impressions if you're still driving it?
I still love it. It's great. The thing I would say is before you don't stress out too much about battery and battery maintenance. The software in the cars is generally pretty good. It's maybe worth getting a 12-volt jumper. You're probably okay, but you never know how people ran that before. And the Hyundais and Kias both have problems with what's called the ICCU, which is the thing that turns the high voltage battery on and off, basically. And that's powered by the 12-volt. One of the problems that you can have with that is that the 12-volt battery kind of sucks that they put in these because it doesn't get a lot of load. So they tend to die before you would expect in a comparable ICE car. The other thing is that this ICCU thing can blow up, and then you have to take the car to the car has to be towed to the dealer, and they have to replace it, and it's a whole thing. The other thing I would say is, we've talked about it before, but a better route planner, a BRP, is the app for planning your route. You're like a longer than one charge drive. So you can put in and say, like when I went to pick up the dog yesterday, I put where we were going. I said we were driving back on the same day. It was like, yeah, hey, you're going to have to charge before you get back. You're going to roll in with 5% battery. And it both tracks the status. You have to pay for a service, which I turn on and off when we're going to do road trips. But it will tell you which chargers have availability on a moment to moment basis. It tracks things like current weather conditions. So if like you're driving upwind, you're going to have less mileage than if you're driving downwind. If it's hot, it's a lot you get better mileage than if it's cold.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. You don't have to consider this, but it's one of those things that like having this will mean that you spend a little bit less time sitting at chargers and a little more time getting where you want to be. So like for example, when we're driving down south in the summertime and I'm like, okay, it's 45 degrees cooler on the coast than it is in the valley. Is it going to be better for me to drive in the valley, in the coast, even though it's a little bit longer than it is to take the valley route down 5 where everybody goes 10 miles an hour faster? And like, it will do the math for you on, is it faster to take the shorter route where everybody drives faster so you get less mileage than it is to take the coastal route where you're probably not running the air conditioner as hard all the time and everybody's going 60 miles an hour instead of 80 miles an hour. And like, you can math the whole thing out so you know exactly. And I will say, on like 500 mile plus drives, it has been unbelievably accurate in how it does, assuming you put in the stats of your car and stuff, right?
Much to consider.
The other answer, having been now 5 years into EV ownership, is actually, no, you don't have to consider it. Because last night I didn't do this when we drove up north yesterday. And when we were driving back, I was like, oh, we're not going to make it back. We got to charge someplace. Can you find a charger someplace between here and there? And then we found one next to an In-N-Out and got burgers while the car charged. And it was fine.
All right.
So
yeah.
It's a lot easier now than it was when we first started talking about this 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. I think I have spiritually fully come around. Not that I'm in the market for a car at the moment, but I think I have finally internalized the fact that I will never own another 5-speed. And
I can't imagine ever buying another ICE car at this point.
But by the time I am ready to get a car at some point in the indeterminate future, it's going to have to be an EV because the advantages are just undeniable at this point.
Even with the problems that some of them have with like weird components that just maybe aren't great or don't stand up to stress over time, you're still going to spend way less keeping an EV running than a nice car.
That's what it is. It's the lack of maintenance and the offset on gas. And because the other thing, my deeply held life goal is at this point is to have solar and a cool EV with a cool compact EV with a solid state battery. Because that's the other thing, is that it seems like solid state batteries are coming relatively quickly.
It seems faster than I would have expected. Yeah. To give context, we drove 300 miles yesterday. I filled up with about 30 miles to go on the drive. I went to 80% because I didn't wait the extra 20 minutes to go to 100, and it cost $22.
Okay.
So an equivalent amount of gas in the cars that I've had up to that point would have been $80, I think. So
pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. And if you have solar,
do one more?
Yeah, if you have solar, your gas comes out of the sky.
Yeah, I mean, look, that would be nice. I got to get a new roof before I can get solar. Let me tell you about my GoFundMe.
Okay. Last one. I'm just going to turn my speakers up and play them toward the microphone for this. From Scoot. I know it's been a while since you ranked startup sounds, but whose insane idea was it to make this the default ICQ startup sound?
Hold on. Before you play this, did you listen to it yet?
Oh, well, yes, but I also remember it from, I was an avid ICQ user.
I was too, but I must have turned it off immediately and used Trillion for the last 10 years. I used ICQ, so I don't have any idea what this is going to be.
Wait, you didn't listen to it yet?
I didn't listen to it.
Wow. Okay, well, here we go then.
I'm excited. It's just a horn?
It is just a horn. It's like a foghorn.
What the hell were they thinking?
I don't know.
It's not friendly. It's not inviting. It's not welcoming. It doesn't make me happy to turn this on. It makes me tense up. And like, why?
Why indeed?
F tier.
Why indeed? Okay. All right.
F tier, Brad. Absolute F tier.
I mean, for people who didn't use ICQ, I'm a little more excited to let you hear what the message sound sounded like.
Oh, the message sound's an all-timer.
I know you know what that one is. I'm going to play it. Give me a second before you react. I'm just going to play it a couple times.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
So many people want to talk to me.
Yeah.
My friends are out there.
Why did they make the message sound say, uh-oh?
We started Ars Technica on ICQ.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way I talked to those guys for years. I
think it was the first instant messenger of any real import. It was it was definitely big before AIM got big.
And even once AIM got way bigger than ICQ, the real people, nobody used AIM. It wasn't until I came to work at Future and worked in a corporate environment where people were like, yeah, you got to have AIM.
Yeah, I think it was also a regional thing. I think ICQ continued to be really big in like maybe Eastern Europe, I want to say, or like some other territories. ICQ continued to be huge.
The hyping bastard Quake League scene was all ICQ and IRC. So
Yep. Yeah. You had to hit Control Enter to send a message in ICQ rather than just enter? Is that the case?
I think that was an option, but probably, yeah, that seems right.
That's some real ancient UI shit in my brain floating back up. I still remember my ICQ number. Do you?
1129645.
Oh, see, I wouldn't say mine out loud because I've still got some sneaking suspicion that it could be used against me if I revealed it.
Oh,
I don't know why that could possibly be the case, but
I'm clean.
How many digits was that? I didn't count. Was that 7 digits?
7 digits.
Wow, man, mine was 8. Shit.
Yeah, 7 digits. I had a 5-digit one, but I lost the password on it.
Man,
or somebody hacked it. I don't remember.
You
who knows?
Probably could have sold that for like money.
Could have gotten $30 for it, I bet.
Probably more than that. Low digit ICQ number was pretty desirable.
That's true.
Yeah.
Look, they looked deep into our heart and they assigned us a number based on the order in which we joined. So,
yep. The tale as old as time. Anyway, yep, those are the ICQ sounds. Thanks for writing in.
So I guess now you do Shift Enter on Discord to do multiple lines.
Yes.
Oh, so wait, you want to do line breaks.
Has that not always been the case? I've been doing that for years.
No. I'm just saying they flipped it. So instead of having to do Control Enter to send, you did Shift Enter. Like now it's Enter by default to send. But if you want to do line separations or something like that in a Discord message, you have to press a modifier. So
maybe that's why ICQ did it that way. I think they did. Anyway,
I don't think if you could do line breaks on ICQ. I don't remember. I stopped using the main ICQ client probably in 2000 and switched to Trillian. As soon as Trillian was out, I started using that exclusively. And then I switched to Pigeon when that became a thing. So
here's a fun thing.
I love a fun thing.
If I search my ICQ number on my NAS with everything.
Oh boy.
I find a file name, which is my number.dat, which I believe is all of my ICQ logs.
Oh, Brad, that's your incriminating data right there. You got to encrypt that thing. Just don't let that get out.
This is a 19 megabyte file dated from October 31st, 2001.
Woo!
I've got to find a way to read that file.
I'm wildly curious to hear see what's in there.
I've got to find out if there's a way to decrypt or otherwise render ICQ logs out of a DAT file.
Dear Abit.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in college at this point. It was probably a bit more...
Who's going to go to the kegger tonight?
Perhaps a bit more scandalous than
okay.
asking people about motherboards. But anyway.
Are there girls there?
Maybe.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
End of podcast.
See, I knew my wife before ICQ existed, so I'm clean here.
Right.
On that note, this is as good a time as any to wrap. This is as good a time as any to wrap it up. Thanks everybody for writing in. Again, the email address is techpod@content.town. We still have a lot of questions in the queue, so I think probably the Patreon episode is going to be more Q's turned into A as my vote, maybe with a side of puppy story. But this is if you want to find out how you can support the show, if you want to find out how you get in the Discord to send questions into the void of the question seeking answers channel, you can go to patreon.com/techpod. It's $5 a month. That's like, I don't know. It's not much these days. It's like you can get a thimble of creamer at Starbucks for that. You get a dirty Dr. Pepper at all of the fast food joints if you want that creamer put into your Dr. Pepper.
I don't like this phenomenon of people talking about dirty sodas.
It's foul.
It's like possibly the worst branding I have ever encountered.
I'm going to boomer myself here and just say, no, sir. Thank you. But yeah, again, it's patreon.com/techpod. We appreciate the support. We're listener supported. We don't take money from advertisers. So you are the only people we work for, and we appreciate each and every one of you. But we especially appreciate our associate and executive producer tier patrons on the last episode of the month. So starting with the associate producers, shout outs to Thomas Shea, Jad Rita, P. Tibbs, Steve Lynn, Nathan Phelps, Ben Tallman, Tom Hilton, Andre M. Burke, P.E, Andrew Dicey Schuldice, Alejandro Navarro, Matt Walker, Walkman 8080, Sanchit Kumar, Felix Kramer, Kerp, Brutal Kerfuffle, and Eric. Thank you also so much. And thanks to our executive producer tier patrons, including James Kamek, David Allen, Octothorpe Bunny for Work, Jordan Lippett, Andrew Slosky, Infelicitous Rips, and Pantheon, makers of the HS3 high-speed 3D printer. Thank you also so much.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to go and take a dog for a walk, and I will...
Good luck.
Yeah.
Probably don't need a lot of luck. I'm guessing walking a dog is pretty straightforward.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, man, Yeah, well, it should be fine. I expect no danger, no excitement, just some sniffing and maybe a little pooping. So
you just said that like an AI chatbot. No danger, no excitement, just some poop. Like, let's get out of here.
Look, man, I didn't say. You look, Brad. That's a really fantastic observation. I've never had anybody observe anything quite that clear for me before. It's very helpful and very insightful. You're easily the smartest person I've ever talked to, and I talk to several billion people a day. So, thanks for your contribution.
No filler, no chit chat. Just the end of this podcast.
We will be back next week. As always, please consider the environment before printing this podcast.